I'm attorney Justin Clark. Coming up just ahead on You Have Real Estate, are the mortgage rates going up, and how does the federal government dictate that? Also, what's the difference in a realtor versus a real estate agent? It's all just ahead. It's You Have Real Estate. If you've been threatened by the IRS, you're not helpless. I'm attorney Justin Clark. You have the power to fight wage garnishments and to fight levies on your account. Call me now for a free consultation or visit youhavepower.com and take back control of your life.
This is a special offer from IQ Power Solar.
Stop paying high electric bills with a solar power system from IQ Power Solar. And now it's never been easier. IQ Power Solar can give you immediate electric bill relief right now when you go solar. IQ Power Solar will reimburse you for your very next electric bill. Plus, if you're a first responder, IQ Power Solar will pay your program payment for the rest of the year. Call 407-585-1018 now or visit iqpowersolar.com.
And welcome to You Have Real Estate with me, attorney Justin Clark. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, seasoned investor, renter, or even looking to buy a house today, this next 30 minutes is designed just for you. Think of it like hitting multiple open houses, all from your living room, with my attorney advice throughout the way. Any questions whatsoever during the show, we have people standing by to answer them. I will leave the phone number right here on the screen, 407-205-0400. Thank you for spending part of your weekend here with me. You will not want to miss the show today. It's a great one, but first, the opening statement. The opening statement today is brought to you by our good friends at IQ Power Solar. As you know, I went solar last year, saved $10,000 on my taxes, but it's been hot out. It's been a hot summer, as it is every summer. My electricity bill was $500 the year before. This year, it's about $50 a month. Stephen Bader, how did we do it?
This new program offers you a 40-year transferable warranty on the product, their performance, the workmanship, the labor. That is the best warranty that's ever been flirted with in this sector, ever, hands down, right? We're giving you a production guarantee. If we promise it's going to produce something and it produces less, we'll cut you a check for the difference. We're giving you a home value increase guarantee. If we tell you that it's going to increase your home value $23,000 and the appraiser is stuck at 20, we cut you a check for the difference, okay? Trade-in program. In 10 years, if you want a cool new system or you want to add stuff up, you have loyalty credits to where you have 50% of your system. If you spent 40 grand, you have $20,000 to trade in and trade up, okay? If you move, if you sell the house, the credits stay with the homeowner, not the home. So if you don't trade up, you sell the house and you move to a new home, you have those credits to go to a new system on a new home, right? And if you move into a house that's not qualified for solar, you can then get cash back instead of a trade up. So we spent 4 years developing this program. Customer loyalties for add-ons. You want to add a battery later. You want to add a new water heater. You just got a pool. You want to add solar pool heat. You can literally do this with no cost if you're in our customer loyalty program. And most importantly, if you spent $35,000 today and you go through our program, on the 15th year, if you haven't used any credits or anything like that, we will cut you a check for the entire cost of your system.
I can't think of a better time than now to save money, save the environment, and you can do so at 407-205-0400.
Mortgage rates are at historic lows. In my entire career, I have never seen them dip this low. Now may be your best time to own your dream home and stop throwing your hard-earned money away on rent, refinance to a lower rate to save money on your monthly mortgage payment, or pay off high-interest credit card and other debt. My name is Dallas Lehman, president of You Have Mortgage. No one knows when rates will begin to climb again, but they will and can go back up quickly. Call me today so we can tailor your historic rate and program. Our premier Under One Roof team is here to provide our very best for you.
Today's opening statement and the whole show is going to be about interest rates, and then I'm also going to help you understand what ORA is. You've heard about the Orlando Regional Realtor Association before, but what is that? How does that help you as a home buyer or home seller? We're going to address that. What is going to happen with these interest rates, though? A lot of people are on the sideline right now. You don't know what's going on. Are the rates going to go up? Are the prices going to go up? And how does the federal government control interest rates? We will do all of that, and we're going to do so by asking real questions. Every Saturday here on the show, we ask real questions of the truly trend-setting people in Central Florida's real estate community. Welcome back, people that have been here before. Dallas Lehman, how are you, sir?
Great to be back. Thanks, Justin.
Rose Kemp, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great.
Dallas, let me start with you, buddy.
Sure.
Rates, interest rates. They've been very low for a long time, as we know. My prediction was that they would increase a little bit this year. They really haven't, I guess. But what sets interest rates? Is this like some magical thing that just happens in thin air? How are interest rates really dictated?
That's a great question. It's good for people to know that. The market of the U.S. market and the economy is almost like a living, breathing, entity. Rates can be affected by things that happen all over the world. They can be affected by what's happening in our economy. They can happen with just about anything out there affects the interest rates. Who sets those rates? Well, the market really controls them to a certain degree. But the Federal Reserve has an active hand in it. They make a lot of decisions. Obviously, the White House and their finance department, they also, control it a little bit. But the bottom line is, on your best day, or on my best day, when quoting a rate for somebody, if something happens in another part of the world, hurricane, a war breaks out, something that's just totally unplanned, an oil event, they can have a dramatic effect on the interest rates. Justin, you're right. Have they gone up? No, they have not gone up. I have seen them steadily stay within a range, and I'm going to say roughly on a 30-year fixed, the range would be anywhere from 2.875 to maybe 3.25. Are they starting to trickle up? I happen to agree with what we've talked about in the past, and I think by year end, I think they may start to go up a little bit. And when I say go up, if they go up to 4, 4.5, or even top out at 5, who knows? That's still a very great rate for people to refinance or purchase right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at history, I know back in the 80s, sometimes people were paying 17, 18, up to 20% on their interest rate. Now we're down in the 2s and 3s. It's really kind of crazy.
Exactly. And I was one of those people that bought my first home back in 1991. And as you were saying very accurately, the rates back then were in the double digits. And I believe with a sterling, I think I had, let's just say, 750 middle credit. I was a young executive, had a great job, reserves, all the things you look for, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac look for, and my rate was 11.75, and I was thrilled to get it. But as you said, Justin, those rates today would scare anybody away from the market.
Does it make a difference if there's a Republican or Democrat in the White House? Does that have any effect? We're going to have to get political and offend 42% of the people, but does it make a difference?
The answer is yes and no, but let me be specific on that. Some presidents are very favorable. They have a great relationship in what they are doing with the economy while they are in office and as they exit office, where it may set up rates to come along in a certain better position. Other presidents may struggle because of what we just spoke about and what you asked me about. There may be a world event going on, such as a prolonged war or something. So unfortunately, the president in office at the time gets that moniker or gets that blame or benefit of the rates of that period, but they can also get it on the tail end once they leave office as their programs become effective in the economy.
I always see that a 15-year rate is lower than a 30-year rate. Why is that?
Lower, and that's an outstanding question for those that are looking to buy. The 15-year rate will be a lower term because it's amortized over 15 years. It'll have a higher payment because it's almost a double payment.
Right.
If you're amortizing over 30 years, well, obviously it's less of a payment because it's over 30 years. So, and there's a few tricks, not tricks, but things I like to educate the buyers on. And one of those is I tell people, you really don't have to get a 15-year fixed mortgage. If you make one extra payment a year towards principal, you're basically bringing that 30-year mortgage down into a 17-year amortization.
Oh, really?
17 to 18-year amortization. And what I like about that, especially for first-time home buyers, is they have control when they make that payment towards principal. It's not like they're forced to do it on the 15-year. Life events happen to everybody in this room and in this world. So maybe you can't make it that 1 year, but you know what? Next year you might be able to make 2 and still stay on track.
Yeah. How hard is it? Probably a terrible question, I guess, but how hard is it to get a mortgage right now?
I would say that it's relatively easy to get a mortgage right now. There are a lot of excellent programs out there. We're still looking at the same 4 things that qualify people for credit. But when I say that, there are some great non-QM programs out there. And for those of you that don't know what loans are, maybe a first-time home buyer, a non-QM loan it's really non-conforming on the criteria it takes to get that loan through for Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. And so is it a good time to get a loan? Absolutely. Is the FHA loan program still out there for only 3.5% down? One of the most popular programs, doing just fine right now for millennials, for just about anybody that's looking to purchase. And to your first question, Justin, this is a great time. It's still a great time to buy. Take advantage of it now because, like you said, if we get toward that 11% rate, it's going to be a long, long time.
Yeah. And what do you see happening with the rates for the rest of this year?
I tend to agree with you. We started out months and months ago when we talked on the show, and we sort of differ a little bit. I said, well, they're basically going to stay the same, but I happen to agree with you. As I said, I think they're going to tick up just a little bit toward year end.
Right.
And by that, I'm thinking maybe, my crystal ball is no different than anybody else's, but what the reports that I read, what I stay ahead with, I say maybe we get into the 4s, and that's not a bad place to be.
We always hear about the Federal Reserve is meeting today or whatever, and they are keeping rates the same or they are increasing rates. What does that have any effect or impact on the mortgage rates that we see as the consumer?
Well, the Federal Reserve is an entity where everybody in America, all the chief economists, all the politicians, everybody listens to them. It's a good barometer. It's a good indication. But I've got to tell you, quite honestly, I go back to what happens in the world economies. I go back to the world events. They can say, the Fed might come out and say, you know what, we're going to continue to try to keep rates low through the next 2 years. And this administration has said that. Mm-hmm. And, that the Fed is speaking to that issue. And sometimes they're successful, sometimes it plays, sometimes it doesn't. But I'll go back and say what I said before. They're a good barometer to what's going to happen with rates.
Gotcha. Rose, let me bring you in the conversation here. Rose Kemp, you've been a big member of ORA for a long time, the Orlando Regional Realtor Association.
Yes.
We have a lot of realtors that watch the show, as you can imagine, because the name of the show.
Of course.
Not for me, just because it's a real estate show, of course. You're running for treasurer, I believe, this year.
Yes.
Real estate agents who are watching right now, you can vote for Rose. How do we do it?
Yes. So the Orlando Regional ORA, known as ORA as well, ORA will be holding its election online for Realtor members September 20th through the 24th. So every single day, all day long, 24/7 until 5 p.m. on the last day, ORA Realtor members can participate and vote for the incoming directors and incoming leadership for 2022.
Gotcha. What does ORA do? What actually goes on over there?
Well, I'm going to advocate for realtors.
Yeah.
You must be a member of an association, of a Realtor Association, in order to be a realtor, and that is because we are held to a higher standard. So anybody can go out and get a real estate license, but then they're not necessarily mandated, and they don't have policies, procedures, and bylaws to follow. So it's almost like the wild, wild west, I think, of real estate. So before associations came along, that's what it was like. And that's why now we have these associations, so that when someone gets their real estate license, they come into the board and they basically take an oath, they take a class, they're educated on how they should treat consumers, they're educated on their own value and how important their job is, and how they have to really, really adhere to treating the consumers to the best of their ability, of the golden rule, following the golden rule.
Right.
So you get a lot of training there. You get all your tools. You're able to get onto your MLS. We have so many different programs. We have stores. So it's an awesome place. It's my second home.
I work with a lot of real estate agents, and some of them on the email on the bottom it says Realtor, and some of them it doesn't. What is the difference in a real estate agent versus a Realtor? And what's the right way to say it? Let's just end the debate
So
here.
it's Realtor.
Okay.
It's not Relator, right? And it's Realtor.
All right.
And so the difference is you can have a real estate license and do things, I guess, your way, right? Or you can be a member of the association and be a realtor. And the reason the consumer, in my professional opinion, would want to work with a realtor and ensure that they are a realtor is because then that realtor has been educated, trained, has the right tools, and to be able to assist the consumer to the best of their ability.
Right.
So that's important to know as a consumer, that you really want to look to work with a realtor.
Got it. And speaking of realtors, you're one of the best, of course, and I'd like to have you help me take the temperature of this real estate market right now. And we kind of do it every week just because it's been shifting a little bit, but we've talked many times on the show about this being the hottest real estate market probably of our lifetimes, believe it or not, despite the fact that we're in a pandemic. However, just over the last maybe 3 or 4 weeks, we've had some agents on the show who have said, maybe I feel it cooling off just a little bit. What are you seeing?
So what I see is our inventory is still low. So, I mean, I just put in 2 listings, and I can genuinely tell you we have tons of showings, and I already have offers coming in.
Yeah.
So it's just the way it goes. So I don't see it cooling down that way, but what I do see is that I think a lot of the purchasers have started feeling frustrated after writing multiple offers and realizing that maybe they're just not winning those bidding wars because they're just not in a position to be able to compete with so many other offers. And so I see a cool down as far as that goes. So some of the buyers have said, you know what, I'm just going to take a break and then I'll get back to the market. We are starting to see more inventory come in, more homes, but we're still low. But but when you see more inventory, then it changes everything around a little bit too, because now we have more houses. So that demand and supply. The other thing I see is as far as our market goes, cooling down would be, I mean, in the higher end, I still see it actually being pretty busy. On the lower end, I would say we're still busy. It's still cranking. It's still a hot market. Our interest rates are still low. I suggest get yourself a loan. Talk to Dallas. Get a loan because the interest rates are amazing. I mean, I've been in business 21 years, and the typical, I would say, average interest rate was about 7 or 8. And to see them be at this rate, you're going to afford more home, too. Of course. And I do see lenders loosening up with their guidelines a bit. And I also have seen a pushback from appraisers. So some of these contracts that have financing, that the offers are $20,000, $30,000 above, I'm starting to see appraisers really kind of putting a halt on that.
I mean, my fear for you is, I agree. My fear for you is that you're renting right now. And if you're renting, you know that the rental rates are very, very high. I mean, the landlords are killing it right now because it's so expensive to rent. But my fear is that you might have had some credit issues in the past, or maybe you went through foreclosure 10 years ago and you're afraid. And don't be afraid. I think this fear of, try it. Why not apply for a mortgage? Because the guidelines have certainly loosened up again over the last few years. It's not 2006, again, pulse and a pen, as we always say. In 2006, you just needed a pulse and a pen to get a mortgage. We're not back to that, but it's certainly loosened up. Don't stay on the sidelines because you're afraid to check that credit, or you're afraid to talk about some of the bad stuff that's happened financially over the last few years, because it's always going to be cheaper. In this current market with the mortgages where they are, it's always going to be cheaper to buy the same house as opposed to rent. There's just no doubt about it, Dallas.
Absolutely correct. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to throw your money away. You work too hard for that money. And I've got to tell you, as to what you're saying, Justin, with the rates this low, if you don't take advantage of this time now to refinance or to purchase, it may be a very, very long time before you're able to do it again. And the reason is, with that low interest rate, that brings your debt to income ratios down, and that's why you're getting approved over other people. Like you were saying in the 7% range, Justin, you were saying in the 11% range. Virtually very, very tough when your DTI ratios are that high. And the other thing we do here, you talked about foreclosure, and Justin, you're exactly right. Never, ever, ever be afraid. I work with people all the time, and when I sit down with them, I said, you know what? We're either going to be able to do this in 30 days, 45 days, 90 days, but when you leave or when we exit this conversation, you're going to have a plan, and we're going to get you to where you need to be to purchase. But what you're both saying, and I agree wholeheartedly, is let's get something owned today, because throwing money away on rent is just absolutely horrible.
Totally agree.
And we do see a lot of people getting refis right now. I know that Dallas is working actually with one of my friends who was looking to refi. And I think it's a great time for the refis also because the values are up.
Yeah.
So, values are up, interest rates are low. I mean, that's a great way to capitalize. So, and I just want to say thank you for taking care of them because they actually, the wife talked to me yesterday for about, I don't know, a whole hour bragging about how happy she was and your service.
Well, thank you very much, Rose. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
It made me feel really good,
It's my
so I
pleasure.
appreciate that.
You guys want a hug?
Yeah.
And you know what else? I always recommend Dallas for
That's
commercial loans too.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Because there's just not, I don't even have another lender out of all of the resources I have that is able to do some of those commercial loans that he can. And that's
Excellent.
incredible.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like
Of course,
you to,
with your assistance,
Oh,
Justin.
yeah. We're always
Justin.
here to help.
Always.
I'd like you to show me a couple of houses out there. I want to see what is out there on the market. Where do we want to begin?
Okay, so one of my new listings, hot on the market, is a vacation home.
Oh.
Of course, you could live in it as a primary, but it's a vacation home. It's the street name is actually Sunrise Key, so it's 8571 Sunrise Key Drive. Sounds like a fun place to live, right? It's actually a single-family home, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms with a private pool, no backdoor neighbor, built in 2005. My seller has actually updated roof, AC, resurfaced the pool, you name it. So place is really nice. The heated square footage is 1,960 heated square feet. And it's kind of interesting because the garage actually was done by the builder as it's not part of the heated square footage, but they put air conditioning in it. And so they did it like a bonus room. So it's a whole game room. So that's really nice. She doesn't use it that way, but it's already set up that way. And so it's got that additional area, or you just use it as a garage. The list price on it is $424,500, and it is in a guard-gated community with a lot of really awesome amenities. And the community name is Emerald Island Resort.
Beautiful.
So live in paradise all year long.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Secondly, I have a brand new listing that I'm really excited about over at the Hammocks, and it's in Ocoee. So different area, West Orlando, basically. And the Hammocks, I'm asking $420,000 for it. Built in 1994. It's got the most beautiful lot, the most beautiful property, lots of big trees, no backdoor neighbor with a pond. The pond, though, is kind of drying out. It's not, the level of water is not really high right now, but it's absolutely beautiful. You really do feel like you're kind of in a tropical oasis back there. The square footage is 2,708. And another great home, single family, beautiful roof, nice upgrades, you name it.
Excellent.
And if you'd like to see either of these properties, I will connect you with Rose right now. But before you start that house hunt, you need to get pre-approved no matter what. No matter what you're going to look at, unless you're paying cash, you have to get pre-approved first. I'll connect you with Dallas Lehman for that. 407-205-0400. Can you two stick around for the Real Estate Roundtable?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. And without further ado, it's time for your portion of the program. It's the Real Estate Roundtable. Every weekend here, I answer your questions from throughout the week. All you have to do is go to our Facebook page. You have real estate. Ask me a question right there. We might just address it next week on the program. Let's start with Pete in Orlando. Do you see another foreclosure crisis coming as the pandemic winds down? What do you think?
I do not, actually, because our values are up. And so if somebody's in a bad situation, number one, banks are really working hard with people. Number two, your values are up. So it would, really be kind of tough to see somebody go into foreclosure. I think the few people we may see in that situation, I think they'll be able to work things out.
Yeah. I tend to totally agree. All right, Phil in Orlando. How much of a down payment do I need to buy a primary home? Good question for you, Dallas.
Outstanding question. And that is really what we do. We tailor that to the specific need of each buyer. As I mentioned before, 3.5% is not a lot of money to put down on a home. And a lot of first-time home buyers really enjoy that low down payment. If we go up to 20%, well, then there's no mortgage insurance, so people enjoy that as well. And then you can pare it down from 20%, 15%, 10%, 5% to control that mortgage insurance. But the bottom line is this. We like to tailor that program to each specific buyer.
Yeah, got it. Frank in Orlando. Can I get a mortgage for a second home at the beach?
Oh, sure you can.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's a red hot time for that, doing a lot of those. We're welcome to do it. The only thing is, what I'll tell people is, people don't realize this. When you have what's called in the lending community as a vacation second, which means a vacation home or a second home investment property, rates are just a little bit higher.
Right.
And that's set by the powers that be, because they want people to get that lower rate to get into their first primary residence. The system allows for people to say, hey, you know what? They're earning a little more money, they can afford the higher rate, so they're just a little bit higher than a primary residence rate.
Any quick tips on what not to do as you're working to get a mortgage?
One of my favorite questions, Justin. Yeah. I enjoy this. One thing I like to tell people and share my benefit of knowledge is, I say, when you're buying a home or refinancing, please don't go out and buy any cars, any rooms to go, any things like that, because what happens is they are going to pull your credit. And when they do, your score is going to drop. So when I work with people, the best thing you can do when you're buying a home, and we can overcome some of this. Sometimes we can't, but most times we can. But the bottom line is, keep your credit high. There's no need to be pulling your credit or taking on additional debt when you're buying a home. And then I tell people, as soon as you close your loan, go out and buy everything and anything you want.
Dallas Lehman, you have mortgage. Great job as always. Rose Kemp, a realtor extraordinaire. Don't forget to vote for her if you're a real estate agent for the Aura Treasurer. September 20th through 24th. That's online, right?
That's good. September 20th through the 24th online.
How do they vote again?
They go online. Aura will actually be putting out the links and whatnot, so you just have to go to the Aura page or like the Facebook page for Aura. Anybody whether they're a consumer or a realtor, should absolutely like the Aura pages, because it's a wealth of knowledge and information.
Excellent job, both of you. Thank you for both being here. Most importantly, thank you for joining me today and every single weekend. I'm attorney Justin Clark, and we'll see you next week for more You Have Real Estate. Here with my good buddy Carter Burks with Carter Water at a house doing a full house install. Now, we're not in my house, but I do have this system in my house and I love it. Thank you to Carter Water for what you guys have done for me.
Absolutely.
Not only am I saving money every day because we're not buying bottled water anymore, Carter, the shower feels totally different now. Why is that?
Well, because you don't have any hardness in your water anymore, Justin. Calcium, magnesium's gone, the chlorine's gone as well. So all you have is good, clean water.
And the cost. I paid $0 up front and literally the cost of a couple of bottles of water per month, all while having much better water. Why is the Florida water so bad?
Well, because we come from the Florida aquifer. The aquifer is polluted. It's full of everything we do up here gets down there. Then the city has to hit it with so many chemicals to make it safe to come out to you.
Right. And you know, we have families. I have a family. I feel so much better now that my family's protected from that bad water. I think what people don't understand is when you're bathing, when you're showering in the Florida water, that's also not good for your health.
It's not, because your skin will soak it up. You just don't drink it, you consume it through your body as well.
And what kind of process is that? Is this a several day deal? You're gonna have to uproot the family, or is this fairly simple?
There's no backhoes or bulldozers involved, I guarantee it. Because our patented technology with NASA and the EPA, it provides good clean water throughout every single faucet in your home. So whether it's here in the kitchen, in the bathroom, you always are protected with good clean water.
So when you leave this house today, this family is going to be able to turn that on and drink fresh, clean, healthy water. Is that what you're telling me?
That's it right there.
$0 down, payment plans. You're going to pay so little per month. Do yourself a favor. Call my man Carter Burks with Carter Water today. You will absolutely not regret that decision.